A strange gardening clip has been spreading online with a claim that sounds almost impossible. It says that with less than $20 worth of copper strip and galvanized zinc nails, you can build a permanent electromagnetic barrier in your garden bed, strong enough to push insects away without sprays, traps, or monthly pest control products. The claim goes even further. It says this is a 100-year-old Amish trick, quietly used by people who understood soil plants and metal long before modern gardening shelves became filled with bottles. At first, that sounds exactly like the kind of ridiculous internet conspiracy you should question. How could two cheap metals compete with a pest control industry worth billions of dollars? How could a few pieces of copper and zinc sitting in wet soil do anything against slugs, aphids, beetles, or other pests that destroy a garden overnight? That is why this claim needs investigation, not blind belief. There is no magic here, but there may be a real physical and chemical mechanism underneath the story. Copper, zinc, moisture, and soil can create tiny electrical and mineral effects. Some of those effects may matter, some are exaggerated, and some claims are dangerously incomplete. Before you copy this method, you need to know both the fascinating science and the fatal weak spots that can make the whole system fail. This method does not begin with folklore. It begins with a basic principle of electrochemistry. On screen, imagine the simplest potato battery you saw in school. One piece of copper, one piece of zinc, and a moist material between them. The potato is not the power source. It is the electrolyte. It allows ions to move. The same idea can happen in soil, but at a much smaller and slower scale. When copper and zinc sit in damp soil, they do not behave like two ordinary pieces of metal. They become two different electrodes. Copper acts as the positive side. Zinc acts as the negative side. Moist soil becomes the electrolyte. Together they create a very low-voltage galvanic cell, not enough to shock a person, not enough to run a device, but enough to create a tiny electrical and chemical environment around the root zone. For humans, that effect is basically invisible. You will not feel a few microvolts in the soil, but a slug is not built like your hand. Its body is wet, soft, and full of conductive mucus. Small insects also depend on sensitive antennae and chemical signals to understand their environment. For them, touching that zone may feel irritating, like the sharp metallic sensation you get when your tongue touches a 9-volt battery. Now look at the economics. A bottle of neem oil may cost around $15 and rain can wash it away quickly. A small setup of copper strip and galvanized zinc nails may cost around $25 once, and the metal can remain in place for years if installed correctly. The return is not magic. It is time, durability, and reduced repeat spending. Now the important part begins, because this is where most viral gardening tricks fall apart. The copper and zinc setup only works if the basic physics is respected. If one part of the system is wrong, the whole tiny battery disappears, and all you have left is metal sitting in dirt. The first failure is the zinc mistake. Many people try this, then complain online that nothing happened. But when you look closely, they did not use galvanized nails. They used ordinary iron nails, plain steel nails, or random metal stakes from the garage. That changes everything. The method depends on two different metals with different electrochemical behavior. Copper must be paired with zinc. A galvanized nail works because it has a zinc coating. Without that zinc layer, the galvanic reaction is weak or missing. No zinc means no proper circuit. No proper circuit means the system cannot create the low voltage effect people are talking about. The second failure is moisture. This is the point many short clips do not explain clearly. Dry soil breaks the system. Water is not just helpful, it is required. Moist soil acts like the electrolyte in a potato battery. It allows ions to move between copper and zinc. If your garden bed is dry, the metals cannot communicate through the soil. No moisture means no electrolyte. No electrolyte means no active reaction. At that point, the copper and zinc are just pieces of hardware buried in the ground. That is why this method must be paired with mulching. Straw leaves or wood chips help hold moisture around the root zone and keep the small electrochemical process alive. The third failure is overpromising. Copper and zinc may discourage certain soft-bodied pests like slugs, aphids, and some small crawling insects, but they will not stop birds. They will not stop mice. They will not fix airborne fungal disease. They will not rescue a garden with poor drainage, weak soil, or stressed plants. Treat it as one tool in a larger system, not a miracle cure. The copper and zinc method makes more sense when you stop looking at insects as the only problem. The deeper problem is plant weakness. A pest does not attack every plant with the same interest. In a healthy garden, the strongest plants often have tougher tissue, better mineral balance, and stronger natural defenses. In a stressed garden, the plants may look green on the outside, but their internal structure can be weak. That is when insects notice. This is where modern growing habits matter. A lot of modern gardening and agriculture depends heavily on NPK fertilizer, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those three nutrients can push fast growth. They can make leaves look big, green, and impressive. But fast growth is not the same as strong growth. If the soil does not also contain enough trace minerals, especially copper and zinc, the plant can become large but fragile. It is like building a tall wooden frame with cheap nails and soft boards. From a distance, it looks complete. Under pressure, the weakness shows. Copper and zinc both play roles in plant enzyme systems, root function, and structural development. When those trace minerals are missing, the plant may struggle to form strong tissue. One important part of that strength is lignin, the compound that helps make plant cell walls tougher and less easy for pests to chew through. A plant with better mineral balance does not become invincible, but it becomes less attractive as an easy meal. This is the part the Amish approach understood without needing modern language. In nature, many insects act like cleanup crews. They focus on weak, stressed, or damaged plants first. The metal setup is not only a pest barrier. At its best, it may also work as a very slow trace mineral drip into the root zone. The goal is not to fight nature harder. The goal is to make the plant less weak, so nature has less reason to attack it. So the real lesson is not that copper and zinc are magic. The lesson is that small physical systems can work when the conditions are right. If you want to test this method, keep the setup simple and scientific. Place a copper strip about 1 inch below the soil surface near the garden bed edge. Use galvanized zinc nails, not plain steel nails, and attach or drive them into a wooden stake so the zinc is positioned near the soil zone without disappearing randomly into the bed. Then keep the soil consistently moist, because without moisture, there is no electrolyte, and without an electrolyte, there is no tiny circuit. This will not replace healthy soil crop rotation, drainage, or good garden observation, but it may become one low-cost tool in a smarter growing system. If you try it, do not just copy the trend, test it. Watch the soil, watch the pests, watch the plant strength. And tell me this, are you using any traditional gardening trick from your grandparents that modern science has not fully explained yet? Leave it in the comments. I will collect the best ones and break them down through physics, chemistry, and soil science. Science is not always locked inside a laboratory. Sometimes it is hiding under the mulch on an old Amish farm. Thank you for watching.